This is where the fun begins.
I am the master. No, I am. Hey everyone, it's me Andrew, and welcome back to the channel for another episode of Star Wars Questions. As we hear from my boy Darth Sidious in Revenge of the Sith.
The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural.
And maybe the most unnatural ability that we see in the films is Force Lightning. Now, we do see 3 different characters use Force Lightning. Darth Sidious, Count Dooku, and Supreme Leader Snoke. However, today I'm going to be comparing and contrasting the difference between Darth Sidious and Count Dooku's Force Lightning. Let's pull the lever and jump right into it. Boom! For reference, for this episode, I'm using mostly the films, but I will also be using Star Wars Battlefront 2, which is considered canon as a part of Disney. So the abilities that characters are able to use in that game are considered to be something that those characters can do. We are going to be discussing 2 powerful Sith Lords. These guys here. Darth Tyranus and Darth Sidious. And we're going to be talking about the difference between their Force Lightnings. I'm going to discuss speed, power, and control, and we're going to figure out who has the more powerful Force Lightning. Now you might think this is an obvious answer, but stick around if you're interested in hearing why. Starting off with speed. The first time we see Force Lightning chronologically in Star Wars, starting from Episode 1 going through 6, is actually from Count Dooku. The first time we see it is when he uses it against Anakin. Now, Anakin rushes him, he shoots a burst of Force Lightning, picks him up, and throws him against the wall. And that is pretty cool. No! But, when he uses it against both Obi-Wan and Yoda later, his lightning is very, very slow. We see his hands don't actually move when he shoots the lightning. It's almost just like this calm flowing of that just kind of comes out of him. And it's slow enough that Yoda is able to catch it, and Obi-Wan is able to block it with his lightsaber just by going, which means that it's slow enough for a human, of course a human with fast reflexes, to deflect, but it also did not catch Yoda off guard, and he was able to catch it and not only deflect it, but also absorb it. And we'll get into that later. Because we're talking about speed right now, not anything else. Whereas with Sidious, his lightning is very, very fast. Every time he uses it, it almost instantaneously hits the target at the same moment that it comes out of his hands. If you watch in Revenge of the Sith, when he is using it against Mace Windu with the unlimited power, almost the moment it leaves his fingers, it's already completely covering Mace Windu. And when he uses it against Yoda in his office, the first time, he shoots it, it flumes across the room. Yoda has time to flinch, but not enough time to react. And so he gets hit and gets tossed into the wall. Later on in their fight, Sidious shoots it out of nowhere, and Yoda tries to deflect it, but it hits the lightsaber out of his hand. He's able then to catch it because he's at such close range and he knows it's coming. But in terms of speed, Sidious's lightning is much more similar to actual lightning, that's super fast and hits his target almost as immediately as you see it, where Dooku's is more like a, I want to say like a hose of lightning, where it just kind of streams out and it gets there, and it hurts when it gets there, but it's not nearly as fast. Now, in terms of power, both of these lightnings are pretty dang strong. I mean, getting hit by lightning, it's gonna hurt. Dooku, when we see him hit Anakin with it in Attack of the Clones, it's hot enough that it steams him, but it doesn't like melt his clothes or anything. And Sidious also never, melts anything with his lightning, but we know that it is hot because they're steaming. Dooku has an ability in Battlefront 2 where he shoots out a burst of lightning and it knocks people to the ground. And this is also similar to when Supreme Leader Snoke shoots a burst of lightning, hits Kylo Ren, and it knocks him backwards. Sidious, we do see his knock Yoda backwards. But Yoda is like really small and really light, so it's not as much of his impact, whereas when he hits Luke with his lightning in episode 6, he doesn't go flying. Sidious also has an ability in Battlefront 2 where it's similar to Dooku's, where he shoots it kind of in a cone shape. But it doesn't knock people down, it just stuns them. He also has an ability called Chain Lightning, which is something way beyond anything that we've seen in the movies, and way beyond something we've seen in anything we've seen in the Clone Wars. A super powerful ability. I actually believe that it's that same type of lightning shot that he uses against Yoda in Episode 3, because it's more of a solid bar of lightning, and it's smooth, it's a straight shot, rather than what we're going to talk about next, control. Now Sidious, when he shoots his lightning, it's not just a straight shot. It's all over the place. When he shoots it at Mace Windu, or when he shoots it at Luke, it doesn't just hit them in one spot. It hits them everywhere. And it's constantly moving, it's constantly jumping around. It is crazy. And that's not to say he's not in control. He just is in control enough that he can make it that powerful. Whereas Dooku's, like we said, it's more of a single line. It doesn't arc out.
You're wrong. How could you even say that?
Except in Attack of the Clones, when he first uses it against Anakin, he actually is able to control it enough to pick him up with the lightning and throw him against the wall. That's something we don't ever see from anyone else, as far as I know, in Star Wars, is they're actually picking up someone while using Force lightning, not knocking them down, picking them up and throwing them with their lightning. Now, Sidious, I'm sure could probably do this, but he just likes to inflict pain. He likes to make it hurt. Actually, I take that back. He does do that to Mace Windu. He picks him up and throws him out the window. What am I talking about? Yeah, they both have great control of their lightning. Dooku's lightning is slower. Dooku's lightning is powerful, but I don't think it can match Sidious, and same with control. I think this is just one of those classic scenarios of master and apprentice, where the master says, I've taught you everything you know, but I haven't taught you everything that I know. And of course, Sidious has a lot more experience. He's already been learning of the dark side abilities for 20-some years by the time we see him in the films. According to the Darth Plagueis novel, he's 19 when he meets Darth Plagueis. And that's over 10 years before Phantom Menace. Whereas Dooku, he sometime between the 10 years between Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, he leaves the Jedi, Palpatine finds him, turns him to the dark side, and he trains him. But that's not nearly enough time for him to teach him all the abilities, all the powerful techniques that Sidious knows. And then Sidious goes on to learn even more as he lives for, another 25 years. Whereas Dooku, he's only a Sith for maybe 10 years max before he dies. Not to say Dooku's not powerful, but in terms of every possible thing that we can judge their Force lightning on, Sidious tops it every time. Thank you for watching. I know this one really wasn't as informative as the last episode. If you haven't watched the last episode, be sure to watch it. It's where we discuss the Force, and if it is audible, leave a comment for any questions that you would like me to answer. I currently don't really have any in the backup plan in my brain, so if you guys have any, that would be super dope, because otherwise I'm going to be talking about nothing. I hope you enjoyed this video. I had fun making it. This is something that I've wanted to do for a while. I actually had the idea for this video before the last one, but I want to do the first one first. So, hope you guys have a great day. May the dark side of the Force dwell in your spirit always, and